Essendon lose to the Crows at Marvel Stadium on a Friday night, as we see Bombers losing by only 2 points. Adelaide Crows 115, Essendon Bombers 113. Yes, Essendon was playing their best game. They were taking everything. They had their opportunity to win. They were just the best. They were getting everything correct. Just that last goal in the last minute by Adelaide Crows was too good. Essendon just weren't good at not letting them score goals. Keys had the most goals with 5 goals, and for disposals the most was Zach Merritt with 30 disposals. Laird came close with 29 after an injury scare. Also Dawson with the injury scare as well, but they got back onto the pitch to finish the job. At NG Stadium, GWS played Gold Coast Suns. GWS winning by 39 points, 89-50. GWS's home ground, as you can see, they absolutely thrashed them. GWS and Gold Coast still trying to find a top 8 position. Maybe they can make it, but sadly it looks like Gold Coast might not make it. And GWS maybe might make it. Just depends to how they win, and Gold Coast as well. In stats, GWS just playing their best. Except for free kicks, that's good for them. Gold Coast just giving away too many free kicks, and just GWS was just playing absolutely enormously fine and just great. Just inside 50s was a problem for them. They let Gold Coast inside 50 lots of times, 66 and 47. They let them in 66 times to inside 50. Just Gold Coast were not good at their aim, and Gold Coast GWS was only let in their 50 47 times, short amount, but looks like they had their aim on. For players, Hogan scored 4 goals and 1 behind for top scoring, and for the most disposals that I can say is Whitfield with 40. That's a massive score. Nobody gets 40 disposals. Massive would be 32. But it looks like Whitfield just destroyed the game, getting GWS the win. At Marvel Stadium, St Kilda played against West Coast Eagles as they defeated them by 61 points. But actually, did they beat them? But they just beat them 113-41. Might have got the scores wrong, but doesn't care about that. So stats, St Kilda, of course, just having the best game. West Coast did do good, actually. Just they weren't good at their aim. They weren't good at scoring goals. They just couldn't get past their defense. St Kilda, of course, destroyed them. West Coast's defense was outnumbered by all their forwards. Membury scoring 5 goals in that game, getting 23 disposals. Steele 31, Sinclair 31. Unlucky last, the most disposals, it looks like will be Hunt from the West Coast Eagles, the losing side, with 35 disposals. That's a lot. And that will be the end for that game. Pouring at the MCG for the first game at the MCG for this round. Hawthorn played Collingwood. Hawthorn looked like they were going to lose, but they absolutely started the game off and thrashed Collingwood. Collingwood 67, Hawthorn 133. It was a very wet game. It was pouring down at Melbourne. For stats, yeah, Hawthorn just doing way better. Just way, way better. You can see all these stats. Yeah, Hawthorn, after that game, they just deserved that win after what they have done. McDonald with 4 goals, also as Bruce. Watson 3 goals. Ginnivan getting 31 disposals. And Sicily getting 30. Also Nash getting 29. That game was a very high-scoring game for Hawthorn. Nearly beat them by 100 points, just 34 points off. Down to Geelong we go. Geelong played Bulldogs, and you could say it was raining cats and dogs. the Bulldogs win 95-48, being the unexpected as they beat Carlton, second places last week, and now they beat the Cats, third places. Bulldogs' upcoming game is against the Sydney Swans at the SCG. Now the Bulldogs play first place. Can they beat first, second, and third? Well, we don't know. As you can see, if you watch the game, it was pouring down. One part of the pitch had been all covered in mud that Bulldogs took advantage to. They were too good in the rain, and Geelong just not standing it. As you can see, Bulldogs just did way better. Like, they did so good in the rain. The rain really helped the Dogs win. Without that rain, they would have lost. It was a rough pitch as the Geelong VFL and Footscray Bulldogs played before the game in a draw 57-57. Ugelhagen with 4 goals, a massive game for him. He scored 4 goals against Carlton, getting a back-to-back 4 goals. Treloar had a massive game as well, 31 disposals. Richards, massive game, 29 disposals. And really, that's all. Also, Lobb was doing a great job in defence. He used to be a forward. That's the reason the Bulldogs got him last year from the Fremantle Dockers. But Lobb might have to move to a new team, but in his new role as defender, it's looking good for him. McRae was the emergency sub. He came on a late, but he still managed to get 3 disposals. Lucky last of Saturday was Port Adelaide against Richmond at Adelaide Oval. It was a very tight game as Richmond was leading most of it, and they were always in a draw. They were so close, but in the last quarter, Port Adelaide just took off. Richmond couldn't catch up, and Port Adelaide just too good for Richmond. As you can see in the stats, they're both kind of equal except for marks. Yeah, it's just very equal, very close game. Dixon with 4 goals and only 12 disposals to get 4 goals. It's good for him, except for the disposals. Wines with 32 disposals. And that will be all of that match. Port Adelaide win against Richmond. On to Sunday. Sunday morning, we see Brisbane play Sydney at the Gabba in Brisbane. It wouldn't be a surprise that Sydney would win, but it's at the Gabba where Brisbane always win. Very hot up there, and Brisbane just always good up there. Brisbane did play a good game, also did Sydney. Brisbane just locking it in so close by 2 points, 79-77. Sydney was this far away from winning the game, just 1 more goal. In stats, they're pretty tied up. Yes, very tied. Shooting accuracy went to Brisbane, but it looks like it should have been a draw. But it looks like Brisbane was just able to get more points and more inside 50s. Danaher with 3 goals. Everybody got a chance to score a goal. Danaher only getting 16 disposals. Michael Luggage getting 26. So he got 3 goals as well. Golden with 27 disposals. Zorko getting 29 disposals. Fox 26 for the Sydney Swans. Sydney Swans couldn't beat the Brisbane Lions. On to the afternoon. Up in Perth at Optus Stadium, Fremantle Dockers played the Melbourne Demons where they beat them by 70 points. What a good game from the Dockers. Melbourne Demons just couldn't handle it after last time they played this season was up in Darwin at Melbourne's home ground, where they lost by 100 points to the Fremantle Dockers. This time they didn't lose by 100, but still got thrashed. Stats, you can see just Fremantle winning everything. Yeah, just everything. Demons did win a few things, just it didn't give them. It just didn't help them, though. It was just lame stuff. Walters with 4 goals. Also, Amis with 4 goals. Tracy with 3 goals. Walters 16 disposals. Amis 8 disposals. Tracy 18 disposals. Van Rooyen was the best player for the Melbourne Demons. Sarong with 36 disposals, that's a high number of disposals. Young 28 disposals. With the best disposals of this week was Brayshaw with 41 disposals. That is what you call big. That is way more than Whitfield from the GWS game with 40 disposals. Now to the last game of this week before we get to the NRL. Another game at the Marvel Stadium. We see the Kangaroos against the Blues. Blues suffering a loss against the Dogs last week really put them down. Kangaroos nearly won that game. Carlton is second place, but it looks like they might go down as top 8 is all tied up at 40 points or 44. They're all tied up, so one win could put Carlton in literal 9th place. Kangaroos and Blues were so close. Just in the last quarter, Blues managed to get away. Stats is pretty tied up again. Looks like it should have been another draw. Looks like the Kangaroos were doing way better in all these. Kangaroos in third last, doing good at the end of the season, starting to get some wins. No winless teams this season. Richmond in last place now. For players, we got Curnow with 4 goals and 15 disposals. Sheezel got 35 disposals, just not enough to get the Kangaroos to win. Cripps had 29 disposals, no goals. Walsh 25 disposals. That's the end of this round. We'll take a look at the next round. Next round at Marvel Stadium on a Friday night. Another Marvel Stadium Friday night game will be Carlton against Port Adelaide. On Saturday at Blundstone Arena in the early afternoons, North Melbourne against Geelong in Tasmania. In Brisbane, Gold Coast plays Brisbane Lions at 4:35. As we see, there's no 2 1:45 games, no 1 4:35, but we will see 2 night games. Just this time they put 2 4:35 games. Another Marvel Stadium game. St Kilda play Essendon at 4:35. It'll be a close one, or maybe Essendon will win. At the MCG for the Saturday night footy, we have Melbourne against GWS. Melbourne suffering a loss still, and Petrarca still gone for the rest of the season is very bad for them after his hip injury against the Collingwood Magpies a few weeks ago. GWS now having a chance to win at the MCG. At 8:10 is the Perth derby of West Coast Eagles and Fremantle. This is a big derby. This is one of the biggest derbies in the city, in the whole entire of Australia. It will be a packed Optus Stadium crowd up in Western Australia. On to Sunday, Collingwood played Richmond at the MCG in the morning, early afternoon, 1:10 p.m. Next, we have the SCG game, Sydney Swans against Bulldogs at 3:20, like I was talking about in the Bulldogs win against Geelong. Bulldogs actually might have a chance to win against Sydney for once. Bulldogs just going up and down, but it looks like they are actually on track to making top 8. Right now, they're sitting in 9th place. The last game of this round is at the Adelaide Oval as Adelaide play Hawthorn. It'll be a really tough game, that one, but I think Hawthorn might just get away with it. These two need to win a game if they want to make top 8 or or even make 5th. Now we go on to the NRL. In the NRL, we see the Raiders win against the Warriors in a close game by 2 points. Looks like all the tries were scored by Warriors, just Raiders getting lots of conversions as Warriors miss a few conversions. Very tight game. Raiders just too good for the Warriors. New Zealand lose. In players' stats, we have Weeks as the best player of the game. Those are lots of players for the Raiders. Warriors' best player was Tuapiki, but looks just not good enough. On to the next game.